We made it. We made it. Let me say that again. Let me say it again. We made it. We made it. It's here. Guys, it's here. The 2021 season for the San Francisco 49ers is finally here. Congratulations, everyone. Good job to you guys on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever social platform you are here from. Congratulations. We made it. We made it to the 21 season. Dude, the offseason that feels like it's lasted forever, nonstop. And even today, it's just a nice little reminiscing feeling of not being in that situation anymore. Because again, we got Aaron Rodgers in the news. We got Deshaun Watson in the news. We got this quarterback, that quarterback. And we're just like, we got Trey Lance. Yeah, we got Jimmy Garoppolo. We got Nate Sudfeld. We got all these guys. We got Josh Rosen. We're chilling. We're hyped. No more. Deshaun Watson, you're one of my favorite players ever, but you're not on my team, so we don't care right now. Aaron Rodgers, one of the GOATs. Respect your game. We don't care right now. We do not care. What we care about is this season. This season in front of us. It starts tomorrow. The players are reporting. I don't believe they're actually practicing. I believe it's a generalized coming together, first team meeting, probably individual meetings, maybe walkthroughs, things like that, So I anticipate tomorrow's going to just be getting everyone in, getting everyone acclimated, getting the boys back together, getting the coaching staff, the training staff, EQ guys, everyone. Got to get the social team on point. Everyone's gearing up for the season, and we're going to have football to talk about on Wednesday. So from everything that we've come to understand about the schedule, training camp, and how everything's working out, we will actually be talking about 2021 San Francisco 49ers on the field Wednesday. It's here, guys. We made it. And you tell them, Bryson, Ambry Thomas officially signed. So we got our third round rookie cornerback. He's signed. Last one left, Trey Lance. Hell, I won't be surprised if Trey Lance gets signed during this stream. So I'm watching out for all you guys trying to troll me. You won't be able to troll me. Sorry about it, but I'm waiting. Could happen on the stream. Could happen tomorrow. Trey Lance is going to get signed. Trey Lance is not holding out. It's par for the course. Don't get worried. Don't fret. Don't get scared. We're not trading for Aaron Rodgers. So we're just waiting. And like I've said all offseason, par for the course. He will sign at that right before training camp or right at the beginning of training camp. We've seen it happen many times. But again, we got Ambry Thomas signed, so that's good. Pretty much the entire class, from my understanding, is signed other than Trey Lance. And like I said, just a matter of time. So as we're getting up to camp, everyone's getting signed, everyone's reporting, everyone's coming in. And it couldn't be more of an exciting time if you're the fan of the San Francisco 49ers. Because, again, this team is built so solid. I'm really excited to do my 53-man roster prediction. And we'll leverage that into an article, into a show, and do all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to be breaking down any kind of crazy stuff today. Today's our intro day, right? Today's the day where we're like, all right, guys, get the blood flowing. We're warming up. We are gathering. This is our team meeting right now. This is the fans' team meeting. The players are going to have their team meeting tomorrow. They're going to come and do all. Today's our day. We're meeting collective as a fan base. Come together, everyone, get on the same page, because now we can put all that stuff behind us. The QB chart, crazy Charlie with the QB wall, gone. Mac Jones, Justin Fields, gone. Deshaun Watson, gone. Aaron Rodgers, gone. No more. So, guys, we got to focus on football. We got to focus on all of it. So that's what I'm most excited about for this season, because this roster's built out really nice. It's built out really nice. I really feel like the dynamic of this roster, ranging from core players like Fred, Kittle, Trent, Bosa, and the list goes on and on. You got your core guys. You got your contributors or guys who are coming up into that next tier. Ayuk, Debo, Dre, Aziz, Mosley. So we have our second tier guys really looking to take that next step in their development. And then we got a great mix of rookies, young talent, and veterans scrapping and clawing and fighting for the remaining positions. And that's only going to make everyone better. It's only going to make this team better. So that's what we have to look forward to. We have a lot of good players on this team. And, we've been having players on for quite some time, right? And I think River Craycraft was the one who said it, talking about the tone that was set by the veterans. He made it very clear to point that it was the players that set this tone. It wasn't the coaches. It wasn't the GM. It was the leaders, the captains of this team came together at OTAs. And do you know what they talked about? Do you know what they talked about? They talked about championships. They talked about this year being the year that we're going to stay healthy, we're going to fight, we're going to claw, and we're going back. This team is hungry, man. This team is hungry. They started this tone back in OTAs, and guess what? They're not stopping because, again, like what Rivers said, he's like, he's been on a couple teams. He was on the Broncos. He had a cup of tea with Philly. He's been around. He's seen other teams operate. But he's like, I've never been on a team where they're solely focused on winning a Super Bowl. I've never seen that. I've never been a part of that. Well, guess what? That's what's happening. I mean, you're hearing that from direct in the building, direct in that locker room. This team is ready. Internally, they believe it's ready. They don't think internally inside the locker room that this is like, if we play good, we might win the division. We might get into the playoffs. If all the cards hit us right, we might sneak into the NFC. We might get to the Super Bowl. No, absolutely not. That is not the tone. The tone is Super Bowl or bust. The tone is Super Bowl or bust. And if you are a 49er fan, you can't ask for anything more. If that's what they believe internally, if that's what they believe, and that's the rallying cry inside the building, Super Bowl or bust, that tells you what they are doing, how they are attacking this offseason, and how they are going to come out swinging. So like I said, as a fan of this team, you guys should be very happy. It's a lot like the 2019 season, but this team is actually seasoned now. You had second year, third year George Kittle coming into his own. You didn't have all the same guys. So now they've built the culture in 2019. We saw what happened in 2020. And that same group that went to the Super Bowl, who has added more pieces and gotten better at certain spots, guess what? They want to go back. They don't want this mediocrity that we experienced in 2020. I don't think that's truly what they're after inside that building. I think inside that building, the way 20 this team's ready. This team's ready to go. So that makes me hyped. Should make you hyped. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be so fire. I'm so excited. So damn excited for this season. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so fun. And then so let's piggyback into some of the stuff that's happened today. Training camp tickets went on sale at 9:00 this morning. Thankfully, I set my alarm. I very well may have forgotten, but it was funny. Oh, we're signing someone. We just signed someone. The 49ers have signed Eddie Yarbrough. The 49ers just signed someone. I don't think I'm going to get off the live for that. Maybe I should. I don't know. Let me get it out. All right. I'm posting. Sausage making process. Beware. So let's go get me to my account. So, like I said, the 49ers just signed someone. They signed a defensive end. I've honestly never heard of this player before. Former Bills, former Vikings DN, Eddie Yarbrough. All right, cool. We signed someone. It wasn't Trey Lance. It wasn't Trey Lance, but we did sign someone. So, all right. So the 49ers are signing D end Eddie Yarbrough per Doug Keed. All right, let's get this out. Doug Keed. So we got, I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm pretty good about knowing these guys. I don't know who this guy is, but he's also defense. The 49ers are signing per, all right, tweeted it. I don't need to main post it on Instagram, so I'll stay up on Instagram. So all right, cool. We signed someone. So there were, again, we worked out D.D. Westbrook. There was rumors that we were going to work out D.D. Westbrook. He didn't make it out of the Vikings building. So he signed, but based on our roster availability, we had an open space. So no one's getting cut. No one's getting released. From my understanding, we know that there was an open availability on the roster. Again, Alfredo Gutierrez, he doesn't count. He doesn't count against the 90-man roster. He is an exemption because he is from the international program, so he doesn't count against a roster spot. So now we get a guy. So the real Dawson is giving me a little scouting report. He's saying that he's not a standout guy, but if you put him on the D line, he ought to be impactful. We'll see. I can't wait to get into his tape. Can't wait to see who that guy is and see if he can be of an impact. Might be a camp body for the most part. Seems like a camp body. But again, one of the things that you have to pay attention to, 49ers don't just bring in camp bodies. If they bring in camp bodies, they could have a plan for them in the future. River Craycraft was a camp body. Dakota Shepley was a camp body. Yeah, they stuck around on the practice squad. And now they have a real opportunity this year to make the roster. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know enough about. So maybe we'll save the scouting report for tomorrow. So, chasing gold, man. Chasing gold. I've tried to fix this internet. I'm switching. Goodbye, AT&T. We are leaving you. I tried to make it work with AT&T. AT&T, we're leaving you. I'm sorry. It just didn't work out. So we are going to do away with AT&T internet services because it just does not work for us. So appreciate it, though. So we'll get it right for the season. I think Comcast, Michael said it in the comments, I think we're headed towards Comcast. We've had Comcast before. Xfinity Wi-Fi has worked great in the past. So literally, again, shout out all of you on YouTube because you've been watching the worst quality streams ever. So it works for us, man. We're just leveling up. That's just it for us. We're just leveling up. If you guys like the content with the terrible stream, then we're just getting better. We're just getting better. So it's all good. Bosa, appreciate you. We can always trust Bosa World to drop in facts and real signings. We saw that one. We got it out. So, yeah. So basically, we were talking about something. And then the 49ers signed a defensive end, former Vikings, former Buffalo. So, again, I don't have a scouting report. So I can't give you one. I can't pretend like I'm a smart guy and be like, oh, yeah, this guy, I know him. He ran a 4.95 and a 13-14 vertical and 17 sacks and call. I have no idea who he is. So we'll find out. We'll find out who he is. But that gets the 49ers roster to 90. So we're actually at 91. Like I said, Alfredo, he's an exemption, doesn't count. So technically, we have 91 players heading into camp tomorrow. So, and we just got our official 90th for camp. So, all right, there we go. Should we talk about it? So apparently, there's a rumor going around on Twitter that Jimmy Garoppolo threw a 70-yard pass in a warm-up. There's no video, there's nothing. But just leave it up to 49ers Twitter to let this turn into something. So After Morning has been talking about a fictional 70-yard pass that Jimmy apparently threw in practice, but it's hilarious because I think Jimmy has a strong enough arm to throw 60, maybe even 70 yards. But it's like, even if he did, like, does that change anything? Do we think that he somehow got, like, even if it's real, even if that did happen, like, what does that change? Does it affect anything? There's a narrative that has stemmed off it that it's leave it up to 49ers Twitter. But from all accounts, sounds like a rumor. So if there's no video, it ain't real. So we'll see it. We'll see. But yeah, so got kind of sidetracked by the signing. Trey Lance, the only rookie left that needs to be signed. But we'll see. We'll see. Because we're ready. We're tired of talking about it. The 70-yard pass rumor, I think, is the epitome to showcase like why and how we're tired of talking about it. It's like someone puts out a rumor that Jimmy's throwing a 70-yard pass in practice, and it somehow becomes this topic. Why? The same thing if Trey threw a 70-yard pass. Like, cool. But what does it change? Because how often do you throw 70-yard passes into games? You don't. So to me, it doesn't really matter. What I care about is being able to read a defense and hit the read you're supposed to with the correct timing and how it's supposed to be executed. That's what I care about. I care about hitting a 15-yard slant on timing based on reading the coverage better than I care about a 70-yard pass in practice. So that's my take on that. But yeah, so as we get into camp, 49ers offensive line looks like it's in really good shape. Again, the presumed starters at this point going into camp will be Trent Williams at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Alex Mack at center. Oh, one of the nuggets from Dakota Shepley interview that I really liked about Alex Mack. So if you know anything about Alex Mack, he has a reputation for being one of the hardest workers on the team, always, wherever he's been, whether it was Cleveland, Atlanta. He just has that reputation. And one of the things about that reputation that I had heard about, I think Brunskill even mentioned it when we talked to Brunskill, but Alex Mack sprints from each drill to drill. He sprints or like whatever. He sprints everywhere. So if you know anything about offensive linemen, I'm one, so I can give you some insight into that. We don't sprint anywhere if we don't have to. The only time you'll ever see an offensive lineman sprint is if they're being forced, basically at a figurative gunpoint to sprint. We don't sprint if we don't have to. That's why there's called a lineman jog. There's a literal thing called a lineman jog where it looks like you're running, but you're walking. All offensive linemen have perfected this. It is called the offensive lineman run or a O-line jog. Literally, you over-exaggerate the shoulders, you over-exaggerate the arms, and what happens is it looks like you're running, but you're not. It's the O-lineman jog. That's how it works. Alex Mack doesn't do that. Alex Mack sprints from every location to every location. Dude, I'm telling you, AT&T, they're done. AT&T's done. Sorry, AT&T. Not coming on here to drag y'all. It's not the point. But yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. But the point of what I'm talking about, if it froze on Instagram because my internet sucks, is that Alex Mack is a leader and is already exemplifying that and doing all that kind of stuff, like I said, by sprinting drill to drill. And again, that's just different because offensive linemen don't do that. We don't sprint unless you make a sprint. So it just sets the tone. It just sets the tone of you're not going to outwork me. You're not going to work harder than me. And that's what we want from our center, the leader of our offensive line group. We want it. So I love that. And I love that he's still doing it. And that's what Dakota said. Dakota said he's still doing it. He still sprints all over the place. Dude's 36, 35, still sprinting everywhere, still showing that effort when it doesn't really matter. And that's what counts. So, and then you go to right guard. I really believe it's going to be a battle there. I believe it's going to be a battle between Brunskill and Aaron Banks. You guys know that I'm high on both. I got tons of love for Brunskill, and I see all the potential in the world in Banks. So I think Brunskill is going to get the crack to keep and win the job, but I think it's going to be a true battle. So I'm super excited to see how that works out. I don't know if that translates to left guard. I don't know if Banks is truly. It could happen. He could be competing for either guard spot. It could happen. So he could potentially beat out Laken. I don't think that's going to happen. because Lakin has been a warrior and doesn't miss games, and he doesn't miss that many plays either, like in regards to missing blocks or anything. So if Aaron Banks does see the field in his rookie year, it does feel like it would be coming from the right guard position. But like I said, Brunskill's going to have every opportunity to hold that job and win that job. And that's why that position is going to be super exciting to watch, because whenever there's a competition, you got to raise your level. And if Brunskill is raising his level past Banks, good sign for the 49ers. If Banks is just really that good, it's still a good thing for the 49ers. So that's what I'm super excited about. I think the offensive line unit as a whole is going to be dramatically better from what we saw last year. And again, that's communication, ensuring protections are being called out properly, and everyone's doing the same thing. Again, it's another year of continuity. Last year was Trent Williams' first season with this team. It was his first year after having a tumor removed from his head, and was out an entire year of football. So now we get him back, another full offseason. Again, Trent Williams went through the 2020 offseason, not a normal offseason. Now we get him back. Now we get him back in the groove and get them going, and their communication with Mac and Lakin, it starts day one. So that's great. And then, of course, Mcglinchey. I know this fan base has Mcglinchey under a microscope, but from all accounts, McGlinchey's bulking up. He's getting beefier. He's getting a little thicker. And, hey, a thick offensive lineman ain't bad. The thick offensive lineman ain't a bad problem. So, and I want to talk just real quick since we're talking about it. I watched the last 2 games of the year because I wanted to watch McGlinchey compared to what he looked like in some of the earlier games when it felt like he was pressing a little bit. And what was super, super exciting about some of the things that I assessed of him earlier in the year from a technical side and what maybe he wasn't doing that would benefit him, you saw him doing that at the end of the year, especially go to the Seahawks game. If you go watch the Seahawks game, Mcglinchey had a really clean game. He had one bad snap where he got beat, but everything else looked solid. You saw the hips getting lower. You saw the base getting wider. You saw the great leverage with his back. Mcglinchey showed me just last year the improvement throughout the year. So I'm excited to see how he comes back this year because I know he's been working. I know Mike. He's not going to say it. He's not going to say it. He's got a chip on his shoulder. And I love it because I think that chip is going to bring out the best in Mike. And I'm really hoping that he shows this fan base what he's capable of, showing him what he's going to do this year because, again, we get those boys moving up front, that offense will be unstoppable. If that offensive line can move these guys that will do the outside zone and inside zone that they want on top of everything that they do off of it with play action and all of it, 49ers are in great shape. Got to get that O-line looking right. So I'm really excited with that. And again, getting Mike some continuity at who's going to be right guard. That matters too. So get Mike some continuity at right guard. And I expect that offensive line unit to just take off. We know the running back room. We're deep and really deep. Again, we got Mostert leading it off, but we brought in Gallman, who hasn't been talked about a lot. I think Gallman has an opportunity to play a significant amount of snaps and potentially be used in a slot role as a wide receiver or catching passes out of the backfield. So I really think that's what Gallman will be for us. Remember, Mostert was on here. He said he could do it too. And to his point was, you got to be put in that position to be able to do it. Just doesn't mean Just because they haven't done it in the past doesn't mean he's not capable of doing it. So then, of course, you got Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell, JaMychal Hasty, really solid group. The running backs. And then wide receiver, I think, is going to be the biggest thing that we watch, or one of the bigger things that we watch, because of how many guys are in the room right now. We have so many guys in that room. It's insane. So I think we're at 12 now. 12. I'd have to count. Because if you don't recall, just last week we brought over Nasimba Webster from the Rams, who's a return specialist, wide receiver. Who will win their kick return spot? I really think it's going to be between Richie James, Richard Craycraft. Apparently, Nasimba's going to get a crack at it. I don't know if Trent Sherfield has return ability. I know he has special teams ability. I don't know if that includes return. I haven't seen that much. I think Ambry Thomas should get a shot. I think Ambry Thomas should get a shot at kick returner, considering how much he worked at Michigan. Like I've talked about it many times with Ambry Thomas. Jim Harbaugh used him on offense quite a bit. And so when you look at Ambry Thomas and you look at what he was used as the last time he was on the field, Ambry Thomas played all three phases. He played offense, defense, and special teams. So I could see him getting a crack at the opportunities to return kicks and punts. So he's someone that I think could fit into that role, especially right away as a rookie, a guy who might not be starting because you have guys like Verrett and Mosley in front of him. So I could see an opportunity where Ambry Thomas gets some run at kick returner. So that's actually a guy that I would see fitting really nicely into that role. And it would be good for him as a rookie, too. Just get the ball in his hands, get him acclimated as soon as possible, get the nerves out of the way. Wouldn't mind seeing Ambry Thomas in the kick return role. But that 6th or 7th spot, that will determine a lot, because that spot is typically reserved for special teamers. So that's the thing, is are they going to opt to keep 7 wide receivers like they did, I think, in 2018 or 2019 or last year? They kept 7. I'll have to go back and do my research exactly which year they kept 7 wide receivers, but they've done it under Kyle Shanahan. So you're just going to have to see, do they keep 3 quarterbacks again? Because as we've seen, they've kept Jimmy, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins. Well, maybe this is the year they only keep 2. Maybe this is the year they only keep Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, because if those are your 2 quarterbacks, feel pretty confident going into the year with those 2, right? So maybe that gives you an opportunity to add another piece somewhere else. So we'll see. Again, there's log jams at the wide receiver position. There's log jams at the running back position. And we have a decent amount of offensive linemen as well. Again, we drafted 2. So those 2 new guys out of the O-line. Got another quarterback. So it's going to be a very competitive offseason, which I think is going to be super, super exciting for us. And then you go to the defensive side. I think for the 49ers, looking at the year and wanting success on the year, I think the 49ers really want to get that defensive line unit back to as close to being back as what they were in that 2019 year, because in 2019, that defensive line was paramount to the success of that team as a whole. as an entire whole, they did that D-line did so much for the offense, did so much for special teams, did so much for everyone. And so I think that's what we really want to replicate. Is we really want to replicate speed off the one side and just funnel everything towards Bosa, Kinlaw, and Eric Armstead, or DJ Jones, or Zach Kerr, or Givens, or any of those other guys. So you bring in Samson Ebukam. You got a guy like Arden Key who has traits, the speed traits. Again, we just signed a defensive end. We'll see what his impact is like. Eric Armstead is a great base down D end. So I still anticipate him playing a lot of base down D end. I know a lot of fans don't like it. I know a lot of Mo Hurst. Yeah, Mo Hurst. I'm super excited about Mo Hurst. Super excited about Mo Hurst. But still, I know I think we kind of just like forget Eric sometimes. But Eric is a great piece to have on that defensive line. And so you get him on the edge on base downs, you kick him inside to pass the rush the passer, and you get Eric Armstead one-on-one with guards, then we're cooking with gasoline. And so then we'll start to see things open up because we want teams to try and double and chip our ends because we got guys on the interior. The quickest way to create pressure is through the interior. So if we can get them focused on the edges and you're just bringing Bosa, you're bringing Ebukam, you're bringing whoever just off the edges and they're creating and generating pressure, and that means you're having to take your running backs and have them key on ends, or you're having to bring down tight ends to chip, that just opens up opportunities for the guys on the interior, which is why I really feel like Kinlaw has an opportunity to be a huge ascending player this year with Bosa coming back, potentially D Ford coming back, with the additions of Ebukam, getting a healthy DJ Jones, getting Zach Kerr in there, getting Mo Hurst in there, getting Eric back playing the form. Great opportunity for this D-line and for guys on the interior. If we get those edges back to being the edges that we saw in that 2019 year, that is why we saw guys like Defoe put up 12 double-digit sacks. That's why we saw guys like Eric Armstead have career years in 2019. It was because of our edges. Our edges. So we get the edges playing right, and everything works off each other. Everything works off each other, and that's what I'm super excited about the defense. Got to get the D-line back. Got to get them back to what they did in 2019, which is instant pressure off the edge, and then the boys clean up. So that's what I'm super happy about. So that position is trending in the right direction. And then, of course, linebackers. I think this might be the year. I think this might be the year that this group becomes known as one of the best linebacking groups in football. I think this is the year. I think D Ford, or I'm sorry, I think Dre Greenlaw takes a step forward. Again, Dre is a stud in pass coverage, sideline to sideline, all of it. All of it. But he still has an opportunity to get better. He still has an opportunity to get better. And I think he takes it. I think he jumps forward. And 49er fans, for the most part, we're pretty hyped on Dre already. But there was room for improvement, and I think he takes that step forward. On top of that, Azeez Al-Shaair. You may have seen some hype coming out. You may have seen me. Bro, Azeez coin, screw Dogecoin, screw Bitcoin, Azeez coin. I'm buying Azeez coin. Stock up, buy low. Buy low now on Azeez coin because we're to the moon. I think Azeez, Dre, and Fred Warner have an opportunity this year to prove that they're the best linebacking core in football. Now, outside of Fred, there might not be a ton of names that people recognize. So it's not. They will have to do that with production. They will have to do that with numbers. It will take a lot for the rest of the NFL to talk about them in that regard, meaning production. But you look at the potential, and that's half the battle. Is just, do they have the potential to be that? And I think they do. You add Flanagan Fowles. He's taking a step forward as well. So I think as a group, and again, you've got Justin Hilliard coming in, stud at Ohio State, undrafted free agent. We spent a decent amount of money on him, so I bet he'll stick around. This group, again, and it's led by DeMeco Ryans, the defensive coordinator now. I don't think like the maturation we've seen from Fred Warner is exclusive to Fred Warner. Meaning, like, Fred, of course, is special. He's different. But we can also give a lot of that credit to DeMeco Ryans for bringing him along and pulling that out, because the coach-player relationship needs to be on point for the potential to become a reality. So we've seen that with Fred. Fred is the highest paid linebacker in NFL history. He's the best linebacker in NFL history. Again, didn't know if he was a safety. Didn't know if he was a nickel. Didn't know if he was an outside linebacker. Didn't know if he was edge. We didn't know what he was at BYU. DeMeco Ryans takes him, puts him at middle linebacker. The rest is history. So I can see a similar maturation process with guys that might not maybe have of an elite skill set to begin with, but there's room for growth and potential. So with Dre, with Azeez, and some of these other guys we talked about, Flanagan Fowles, hell, you can even I think Hufanga might play a little backer this year. That's just always been my gut. I have no idea. My gut has always told me, just looking at the traits, Hufanga looks like a linebacker. Do they play him that way? Do they play him in the box? We'll find out. That's what he looks like. He could contribute there. So when you look at the middle of the defense, you look at the D line, you look at the linebackers, the front seven. Woo! I like it. I like where we're headed. I feel very confident with the front seven. We understand the asterisk that comes along if they stay healthy. I had to say it once, but if that front seven gets everything going, that takes a lot of heat and pressure off the DBs. So we get that front seven stacked, speed coming off the edge, interior pressure, everything funnels to the linebackers. Linebackers are moving sideline to sideline, cleaning everything up. I can't imagine too many teams are going to run on us too well. I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine that happens. And then, so what that translates, again, if we have edges screaming off the corner, create that. And so that's what we want. That's the key, is to get quarterbacks off their spot. Because if you get quarterbacks off their spot, that changes their progressions. That changes the timing in their progressions. It changes how they read defenses. It changes what they're keying on. So we want quarterbacks keying on our defensive ends. We want centers to walk up to the line and have to tell their running back, hey, Bosa's left, chip, we need a chip. You know, whatever verbiage they use. We want that. We want that. So get the edges screaming. That just helps our DBs. That just helps our DBs. We already got guys like Verrett and Mosley, who Verrett is a great press corner. He's good in zone as well. But whereas Mosley is a stud off-ball corner. The way he plays zone, the way he uses his eyes, the way he manipulates routes and undercutting them, and his long arms, love having that kind of two skill sets on the edges. One, like if we need like Verrett, be like, all right, Verrett, you're following D-Hop all game. You're following D-Hop all game. And then we know that Mosley, he's just going to be locking down, playing the space game, doing whatever he needs to do, or locking up whoever he needs to lock up. And then you got K1 in the slot. We know what K1's capable of. So we got K1 back on the steal. We got the Shark back. So if the Shark's coming back, I think we feel pretty confident in those three. I feel confident in those three. And then we start looking at the depth of the position. You start looking at Diamador Lenore. Diamador Lenore is someone that I feel pretty happy about. I feel pretty good about. I feel real good about Diamador Lenore. He's kind of got that Jimmy Ward vibe. That small, kind of compact, but very good at press. Reminds me of Jimmy Ward a little bit. So you get Diamador Lenore, who can play nickel duties. You get Ambry Thomas, again, signed today. He has the ability to play outside corner on either side. I'm sure he could survive in the slot if he needed to. So cornerback depth, of course. Dante Johnson will be on this team forever. The guy, I know he's a joke. He's like a punchline amongst 49er fans because he feels like Dante Johnson has been on the team forever. But they love him internally. They do. So I think that's something that you got to take away. And he played. He played a decent amount last year. So, you know, Dante Johnson around Tim Harris. So, again, another guy that we haven't seen. We haven't seen Tim Harris. I believe he was a late-round draft pick 2 years ago. We haven't seen much of him. So it's going to be really interesting to see what he produces. You guys can't hear me? You guys were hearing me. You guys were responding before. Let's see. So hopefully you guys can hear me. But like I said, cornerback depth, I feel okay. I feel like that is a position where they realize, like, hey, we got starters now, but we also need to bring in some guys to develop. Hence, you know, Diamador Lenore and Ambry Thomas. We also have Mark Fields. We brought him. I forgot about Mark Fields. Mark Fields is a cornerback, 25. We brought him over, I think, from the Texans. He played at Clemson. He had a couple plays. He had a pretty big national championship game. We got Ken Webster. Really not a ton past that. That's all I'm seeing from the cornerback depth. And then with DBs, which is safety, we got Jimmy Ward. We got Marcel Harris. We have Tony Jefferson, Jaquiski Tart. One of my guys, Jared Maiden. I like Jared Maiden a lot. He would have got a lot of run with us last year. But he got hurt right before right before all of the opportunity opened up, and he was put on ice. But he's a second-year player out of Alabama. He was undrafted, but I'm excited. And then, of course, Hufanga, who I think is more of a hybrid. I think he's a hybrid guy. I think Hufanga is going to play a lot in the box. Like I said, nickel linebacker potentially. I think Hufanga will be a box guy primarily. But I might have mentioned Tony Jefferson already. You had Kai Nakua, destroyed his name. Tavon Wilson. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But you have to assume it's going to be Jimmy Ward, and then you kind of feel like it's going to be Tony Jefferson or Jaquiski Tartt who's going to play on the opposite side. But like I said, don't sleep on guys. Of course, Marcel Harris has been around. He's been here, as well as Jared Maiden. So I think those are two guys that could be sneaky on the depth chart. I didn't talk about the tight end room too much, of course, because it's George Kittle. But Michael Pruitt, a name many of us maybe not have been marinating on for too long. I think he might make the roster. I think he might. You look at the money he got. He got a good amount of guaranteed money. And again, we'll see. The money is interesting. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. I love you too. Brunel asks, Brown somehow make Greedy Williams available. Do you think 49ers make a move? I wouldn't, personally. I wasn't a huge Greedy Williams guy coming out. Hasn't really done much since joining the Browns. I'm okay. And this is what I think too. I agree so much. And so what I just pulled up was Sean said that he really thinks Gallman is going to be bigger for us than what a lot of people are saying. This running back, he's a great back. He's very strong and great vision. Great hands. Dude, Gallman, I'm a Clemson guy. So if you come out of Clemson, I've already watched you, already scouted you. Big time Gallman guy. So he's got fresh legs too. He hasn't got a ton of run. I would say Gallman is probably like 2 or 3 tiers better than Hasty at this point. I agree. I think Gallman has a real opportunity to, like, I think a lot of fans are just assuming like Trey Sermon is going to be the one coming on strong to just straight up take over Raheem Mostert. For whatever reason, this fan base is already trying to throw Raheem Mostert out the door. I mean, we got him for 1 year, so let's use him. Let's use Mostert. We can use Mostert for sure. So, but with Gallman, everyone's assuming that Trey is going to be the one to really eat into the carries and production of Mostert. I think Wayne Gallman could very well be the primary third down back. He's been used in that role the majority of his career in the NFL. He can block, he can catch, he can run routes, he can do it all. So I actually think Gallman has just as much opportunity as Trey Sermon does based on the skill set. So I think Gallman is going to be such a sneaky signing. We're going to look back and we're going to be like, wow, man, we didn't even talk about Gallman for half the year. And Elijah Mitchell as well, which I love. My Elijah Mitchell story at the Senior Bowl, was on the field for practice, taking pictures, doing video, and they break down the team. So certain players go over to the media side of the stands. And so what they're doing is they're going over and they're going to talk to the media. So players would walk over to the media side of the field. They're on the field. Media's in the stands. They're kind of gathered around each player. And so they do that whole thing. Well, Elijah Mitchell, who's now the 49ers running back, he was a 6th-round pick, had already been balling out all of these practices. Him and Chris Evans, Michigan running back, 2 guys that I came away really liking at the Senior Bowl. Well, it was I'm wrapping up last practice, getting all my stuff packed, and I see Chris Evans and Elijah Mitchell walking at me. I'm like, well, I wonder what they're doing. They put their helmets down, and then Chris Evans is working with Elijah Mitchell on pass protection, talking about, all right, when he's rushing you, you're trying to attack this half of his body. You're trying to gain this leverage. You're trying to put your hands here. And so I just got to watch these 2 guys, Elijah Mitchell and Chris Evans, work by themselves. Either their teammates were doing media or went back into the locker room, and I just watched them. I just watched Elijah Mitchell and Chris Evans be football players and work on their craft after practice when no one's watching. The scouts were gone. Everyone's gone. It's just these 2 guys trying to get better at what they do. And again, like I said, I already noticed Elijah Mitchell from his skill set in practice. But getting to watch them just kind of interact and getting to see these guys talk and, again, their vibe, I was like, yeah, Elijah Mitchell's going to be good. And we got him. And it's funny because he has a very similar style to Raheem Mostert. He has a very similar style to Raheem Mostert in regards to speed, one-cut ability, burst, explosion through the line of scrimmage. So got a good running back room. We got good wide receivers, and we're going to have a solid battle. Anything past hell. I mean, even if we really want to look at it, man, if we really want to look at it, Ayuk's good, Debo's good. Sanu looks like he's been working his ass off. It looks like he's going to be good. Like Richie James, we know he's good. He just needs opportunity. We're going to see Jawan. We're going to see her. Again, we added some competition in the tight end room at the depth of the tight end. There's people, competition. If it's not competition for the starting job, it's competition for the backup job. And that's huge. That is huge. There's literally competition in every single room of this. That never happens. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, O-line. Literally every position group on the offense has a battle. Either the starter or primary backup. There is a battle. And then defense. Defense is just about getting our guys on the field at the same time and staying healthy. D-line, we know it's a rotation. We know D-line is strength in numbers. So it's less about a battle there, and it's more about getting that rotation right, getting the guys healthy that need to be available to play. Same thing with the linebackers. Linebackers, you're going to stay with those same 3 guys pretty much throughout. DBs, same situation. I feel pretty confident with our DBs. Really, the main competition to me, it feels like, is who's going to be the starting safety opposite of Ward. So with the defense, I think it's more about just getting that group together, playing fast football, playing angry football, and getting back to what they do best. With the offense, Kyle has generated competition everywhere. So I like it. I really like it. And again, that competition on the offense is only going to make the defense better, vice versa. So again, this is the kickoff show. Got to an hour. Let's close it down. We just went through the entire roster, high-level overview. We did high-level overview of the roster. We talked about some of the signings that happened at the beginning. So what I'm going to do, though, is we are going to do a final 53-man roster prediction. I want to try and get it out before the first wave of cuts. So when there's still 90 guys on the roster, again, I'm juggling a million things right now, but I want to get it out. I want to write it, and I want to be very in-depth about it because I think this year, out of any of the other years, it's really up for grabs. I really think that there's certain spots that anyone could get. So I'm excited to dive in, do the full deep dive. And so that'll be my goal this week for content, like planned content. We're always doing content. We do a ton of reacting content, but for planned content, I'm trying to get that 53-man done. And then we'll do a whole episode on each position. And we'll talk about each position group in depth, why they're battling, who has the upper hand, who doesn't, who's the long shot, who's the dark horse. We're going to go through it all. And I'm really excited because, like I said, this year out of any of the other years, there's more parity on this roster than we've seen for a while. So I'm excited about that. So that's what we're going to be getting into. And again, Trey's going to be signing. He didn't sign. We signed someone else. I was thinking Trey was going to get signed while I was on the live, just because that's typically how it works. Didn't sign Trey. We signed a defensive lineman. So Ambry got signed right before I came on. We signed a defensive end during the stream. And now we're at 90 men. We're at 90 men. We've hit our quota. We are at 90. Again, 91 if you count Alfredo. Alfredo is exempt because he's part of the international program. We made it. So that's the hype. And again, so tomorrow, it's either we'll be back on later today to talk about Trey signing, which we knew was going to happen, and it's a waiting game. Or we come back tomorrow, maybe before they meet, after they meet. I don't know. Oh, we get to hear. I think we get to hear from some of the guys tomorrow. I think we get a media availability tomorrow. So we'll monitor that situation. Again, of course, want Kyle to talk. I'm fascinated with Kyle. I'm so fascinated with Kyle. Ever since he went on that podcast, man, I'm just like, Kyle, I want to know everything about you. So tomorrow's going to be fun. The boys are back. The boys are back tomorrow, all in the building. We'll see what comes from it. We're probably going to get those great videos from the 49ers production team of all the players walking in from the parking lot. We're going to get that kind of stuff. Maybe they got something planned for the first day. We'll see. But so far, par for the course. And again, the offseason's over, guys. We made it. We made it through the crazy. I don't think people understand how crazy this offseason was. Not like for any fan base. Like what the 49ers went through was crazy. And we got to be in the middle of it all. And it was pretty special. But it's over. And now we get to focus on the season. So super excited. And we're going to get after it. And I know you guys love asking me questions as I'm trying to get out of here. Not this time. Not this time. And you're asking good questions or making good comments, but I'm trying to get off. Well, of course, this is our season. Our season has started. So if you guys were around for the draft, if you guys were around for January to May, you can expect similar content. As we get going into the season, we ramp up with it. So, and again, doing training camp ticket giveaways. So I hoarded training camp tickets for a reason. We are giving those back. So probably happen maybe more towards the end of this week, maybe beginning next week. But we're going to do training camp ticket giveaways. I grabbed extra tickets so we could do this. I loved doing this back in 2018. It was a really fun giveaway in 2019, but we weren't able to do it last year. So it's really fun. Hey, good night from Germany. And so it's really fun now that we get to do it again. And I'm super excited to do it again, which is why I bought so many tickets, because I'm excited to give those tickets back to you. Someone tried to tag me and at me and be like, make sure these guys don't do this. I'm like, bro, if you only knew that I was giving all these tickets back for free. So I have training camp tickets. I'm looking to give those training camp tickets to you. Keep an eye out for those contest rules and whatever. That's coming. So you have an opportunity to win training camp tickets. Maybe even I'll see you guys there. What's the difference with Dwight Clark Day? So 8/7 Dwight Clark Day is open practice at Levi's Stadium. So there's much more availability. So I think those aren't sold out yet because, again, they're selling tickets in the stadium. So if you want to go ahead and grab those tickets, I would 100% recommend, like, if you only had one day to go to a training camp practice, go to the Levi Stadium. Absolutely go to the Levi Stadium training camp practice. I went in 2017 when they did it, and it was a great time. I brought my family. I don't know how the food situation is going to be like last year, or in 2017, the food was free, which was sick. I mean, you never go anywhere like that where food is free. I don't know if that's going to be the same thing this year. But again, if you're trying to decide, like, do I want to go to training camp where at their practice field, or do I want to go to training camp in the stadium? Go to the stadium. Make sure you get to the stadium. The stadium's going to be a much bigger vibe. I know that they're going to be limiting people into the practice area. So go to the stadium. I think you'll have a much more fun time at the stadium. But if you're going to both, then we're on the same page. Am I getting a custom SF Niners jersey? I don't think so. I love my brand. I love the brand to death. But I gotta keep the jerseys from my boys. I gotta rep the boys. What is my suggested arrival time? Okay, that's a good question. So if you're going to regular training camp practice, if you're going to the regular training camp practice, which is held at the practice fields, you want to get there a little early. I would say at least a half an hour early. And this is why. Because they have you park in a lot that is not close to the practice fields. So typically what they've done in the past, again, I don't know if that changes based on the new times we live in, could very well change. But from my understanding, you show up into one of the lots across from Levi's. They have like a check-in. They to the metal detectors, and they, of course, make sure you're not bringing in any weapons or whatever. And then they put you on a bus, and then you shuttle down the road about five minutes, and then you're there. But like I said, if there's a line or you're going to have to wait a couple buses, just get there half an hour early. Worst case scenario, you're hanging in the parking lot with Levi's in the backdrop, knowing you're going to 49ers practice. So it's still a vibe. So if you're going to go, just get there early. Just get there early, and then you'll be able to get the best seats. And then you get to decide which, again, this could change. I don't know. It was different times we live in. I don't know what they're going to be doing to, shepherd in the new times. But again, if you want to see everything, if you're like really into watching them practice, go to the top row of the bleachers under the shade. This is my secret tip. It's my secret tip, and it may come back and backfire in my face because it may be you guys may be sitting up there when I show up. But this is what I do. So they have bleacher seats, and then they have grass seats. At first, you're like, those grass seats look sick because you can go right up against the rope. You can get right in the front, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm right in the front. Let's go in the front. But guess what? They have all their practice staff. They have the reporters. They have the players that aren't on the field, like when they go to team period. No, and they'll block your view. In individuals, it's cool because you'll get an individual group right on you. Like you'll either be looking at the linebackers or you'll be looking at the DBs, and they're right on you on the grass if you're in the front row. I imagine they're going to drop that back based on the restrictions. So that's why I'm like, if you really want to see everything, go straight to the bleachers, go straight to the top row. It's shaded, and you get to see over everyone. You get to see both practice fields, and you get to see a lot because guess what? Sometimes when they do team period, they do it on the field furthest away from the fans. So again, if you're on the ground and in the front, your level of sight isn't as good, and you can get people in front of you. Oh, let's go. Shout out Mountain Mike's. Hey, win. Mountain Mike's in the chat. Let's go. Mountain Mike's, I know you're hyped. I know Mountain Mike's is hyped. One of the official sponsors of the San Francisco 49ers. Let's go. Mountain Mike's is hyped. So, but that's the rule. That's the rule. If you want to see everything, at training camp, at the training camp practices, go to the top row under the shaded bleachers, best view. You'll be able to see everything. My advice. Do they start camp tomorrow? Yes. Tomorrow, like I said, I think tomorrow is just team meetings, getting everyone back in the locker room, maybe a team activity, maybe a team workout. I don't imagine that they're getting on the field tomorrow. I think tomorrow's just, it's a day one, kind of like what we're doing. It's just a day one. Kind of get ready for the year, set the tone, probably going to have the leaders speak, all that kind of stuff. So shout out Dino from the UK. Let's go. We had Germany in here. We got UK in here. We got Mountain Mike's in here. Let's go. Oh man. Predictions. I don't go deep into predictions, to be honest with you. Brad, pay attention to your YouTube comments. I do pay attention to my YouTube comments. I do. IG is overrated. Don't get me started on IG. I got plenty to say about IG and the app and that. So trust me. But we are building here. We are building on YouTube. Jesus. What's up, Unified? Jack. The real A. So I gotta give respect where respect is due, because I've seen a lot of people swoop it. But the first time I ever seen it, Trey Area, you know Trey Area. We all know Trey Area, right? Jack Escobar on IG, my guy. He put me on game. So anyone's trying to take credit for Trey Area, it's Jack Escobar, IG, my guy. Don't listen to anyone else. Anyone else tries to tell you they started it, it's a damn lie. This dude came up with this months before Trey Lance was even in the picture. Jack Escobar. Don't listen to anyone else. Because then I told him, I was like, I'm taking that. I was like, Jack, bro, you killed that. I was like, I'm taking it. He said, okay, go for it, bro. But that's who came up with that. That's the boy. Shout out, Jack. Shout out Escobar. I like the last name too, Escobar. Whew. So that's the guy. That's the guy right there. Which rookie do I think starts day one? Whoa. Which rookie do I starts day one? You guys ready? I'm gonna say it, and I'm literally closing down the app. So this is who I think starts day one. Again, I appreciate all of you guys hopping on. I appreciate you guys joining me. Again, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. So we'll be back from here until January with nonstop content, so don't you worry. I'm going to burn it down, though, before I leave. You guys aren't even going to be able to respond. So this is who's going to start. This is the rookie that's going to start week 1. Are you guys ready for it? Are you ready? Trey Lance is going to be starting week 1. And I'm out. Late. Bye.